Hey folks, welcome to the channel. I've got a follow-up song today. It's Buddy Brown's Pedro Comes Back. And I did Buddy's song Pedro a while ago, and this was requested, I don't know, fairly recently, within the last couple months. So I put it on a list. It was requested by the Kids Survival Guide. So the Kids Survival Guide, shout out to you. Thank you for this request. And let's see what Pedro Comes Back is all about. Here we go.
Truck Sessions.
All right, y'all. Pedro is the character I introduced back in my album Just Saying back in 2016. Kind of left him hanging at the end of the song. So if you haven't heard the first Pedro yet, you might want to go back and listen to that one first. This is the sequel. Let's pick up the rest of the story.
Right.
I found him outside on a long dusty highway just south of old San Antonio. His left foot was limp and his clothes were all ragged, was down to a fifth of Patron. I rolled up right behind him in my beat up Chevy, about scared old Pedro to death. When he saw it was me, he said thank the Lord, dropped his bag and old boy hugged my neck. My charter plane dropped in just over the border. My pilot told him to go north. He'd been walking 2 days with a bag on his shoulder, still holding that old 44. All the locals in Texas, they called him a hero, 'cause he got us out of a trap. At a nearby saloon, we all gathered up and celebrate the day that Pedro came back.
I like the setup.
We set him up as a hunting guide outside Laredo, and I let him work on my ranch. Each day we would take out a couple of hunters, those whitetail would never stand a chance. Many years would go by and we almost forgot they still had a price on our heads. But on this side of the border, there's plenty protection, and they ain't found old Pedro yet. 'Cause my charter plane dropped in just over the border. My pilot told him to go north. He'd been walking 2 days with a bag on his shoulder, still holding that old 44. All the locals in Texas, they called him a hero, 'cause he got us out of a trap. At a nearby saloon, we all gathered up and celebrate the day that Pedro came back. The day that Pedro came back. I found him outside on a long dusty highway, just south of old San Antonio.
Buddy seems like a pretty cool dude. I don't know when this was done. So the original story of Pedro was, I'm wearing my Don't California My Texas shirt from Jacob Harris. That is in Texas. The original story was like Buddy, or the character in the song, went down to Mexico hunting. Pedro was their guide down there, but then they were surrounded by a bunch of bad dudes, and then they were thrown in jail, and they couldn't get out of jail, just because the legal system's different. And then Pedro had a 44 on him, and he shot the guard or the jailer, the dude, and they escaped. And he said, "Don't worry, I'll get you back to America." And he did. And, right? Isn't that they got back to America? I don't think they just escaped. So I guess this is sort of like filling in the pieces now. His pilot then went back and he saved Pedro. He got him up to the States and all that. So that was very cool. Then when Pedro saw that it was him on the highway, he dropped his bag and he said he hugged his knee. I don't understand that part of it, but that was very cool. So I love it. I don't know how he got that kind of sound. I mean, it seriously just looked, it didn't look like he was wired for anything. So maybe that was just taken on a cell phone, because you can do that. I mean, the technology in cell phones is amazing. Like for photography as well as sound. And so maybe that's what he did, because I didn't see him wired up. Maybe he had a mic up top and it was, I don't know. But anyway, all right. The Kid's Survival Guide. You know what? Your screen name actually makes sense with this song, because Pedro had to survive. And so did Buddy. All right. I'm going to rate this one. It was fun. It's kind of hard to rate a song that's just sort of like done on the back of a pickup, but I rate my experience with the song and all of that. So the number that popped into my head was an 8.7. That's it. Nothing over the top here. It was just a continuation of a story. He put some thought into it. He still at his 44, and he made it out because his pilot said head north. 2 days later, they were reunited. So, all right, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. Have a great day. I'll see you on another video. Keep rocking the country.